Thank you, Denise, for such a overstated commentary about me. There are actually three things here shouting. One is the belief create possibilities, which is actually the mantra of the AdPlanet group. We started off why belief create possibilities is because it started off with this one tagline that I wanted, which is there's nothing impossible with God, and with God everything is possible. And then I went on to redefine it in an advertising term called possible the impossibles. And then my art director, my creative director came out and said this line called believe create possibilities, which is basically the manifesto of my group, where we believe the impossibles to make them possibles. So there's this one line here. And the other line is in search of purpose. I congratulate what the CDC is doing because we are very happy, both Shohua and I are very happy to be here for this because it's actually a very purposeful event. It's about searching purpose in our lives, about what do we do with what we have and how we can give back to the society. And I think that's a very important call. Sometimes we have taken it for granted, and I think it's important for us to remind ourselves that is a very important charter for us, and it should not be just other people to do it, but it will have to start from us. Coming back to the main theme, which happened to be at the at the bottom of importance, it's called the advantage of being disadvantaged. I chose this title, The Advantage of Being Disadvantaged, is basically because, again, I'm in the advertising business. I have always been talking about perception. And I change perception. I make a perception more sticky if I can, if I need to. And the perception of what is a disadvantage is how I basically want to say that I twisted the plot, as it were, to say that there are advantages being disadvantaged. And life is there's a lot of irony, because what you see may not be what you get. So I think it's important that we can see the positive side of things. So the title is Advantage of Being Disadvantaged. So I have a couple of, these conditions are quite widespread. I must say I have some inkling of it. I want to elaborate how this ADHD thing seemingly is what they call attention deficit hypersensitive disorder. So seemingly ADHD people are very hyperactive, disorganized, inattention, distracted, forgetfulness, and have a lot of disinhibition. What then you will see in this picture is about a normal person and an ADHD guy who's obviously very distracted and trying to disrupt focus. And the key point here is about the title, which is what they call normal and what is called ADHD. So if you look into this, it will imply ADHD is not normal. And what is normal? And what is new normal? We have heard so much about the new normal. And therefore, is ADHD not normal? I'm here today, and I have been all my life, to challenge that ADHD is not normal in a bad way. There's one article where Vikram Kannan, who is the editor for Business Time, he wrote the headline once, which I really like it, when he says, the present can change the past. The present can change the past. That is very insightful. Basically because if you look into a person who may have gone to jail, that is his past. But today, he may be a great inventor and a really very successful man. And you look at him today as a hero, as how you wish you could have a dinner date with him. His present today has changed his past, which is the fact that he has done something that required him to serve some time. But the very fact that his past didn't define his future is very important. So labeling does not help in saying that's what you are today, and therefore that will seem to, your future will be destined according to what you are today. So there is a danger in our education system that we must always try not to label and always believe. And the word is to believe, and that's why it's also linked to the first slide where we talk about belief create possibilities. Because if you believe, there can be possibilities, positive possibilities. So there is a mirror. I would like to say there's a difference between ADHD, which they seemingly say is not normal, to one, what happens if a guy is so focused? So it's what I call attention to focus hypo disorder. So if it's hypersensitive, what's wrong with being hypersensitive? I think hypersensitivity is about, if you translate it in a positive way or interpret it in a positive way, it's about energy. You need energy to move things. Otherwise, you are in a state of inertia. And hypo is really basically about low level. And you, in terms of blood pressure, you can either have hypertension or hypo. You are in the state of hypo. And hypo meaning excited. What's wrong with being excited? There's nothing wrong with being excited. I think it's good, and it's good to have energy, versus a person who is very hypo, and therefore I interpret it, that person having to be very lethargic or low energy level. So it can be a bit too focused, and too focused sometimes is talking about being very vertical and too micro. So to me, ADHD guy is basically energy, MC squared. And if you look into his mind, there are so many things going on laterally, and he can't stay focused. And there are many ways to sort it out, and we just get focused in a distracted way. That doesn't mean that it's wrong. That doesn't mean it's not normal. Because our minds are moving very laterally. There's so many things happening at one time, and I believe, like some say, it's like a satellite dish. And it's just that ADHD guy probably have a very big satellite dish, and they are capturing a lot of information. So the challenge is for him or her to manage all this information overload. But it's good that they are capturing information. So it comes to dyslexia, which I do have a bit of that as well. And we are lateral thinkers, and we always think very differently. What we read from, normal people will read from left to right, we'll read from right to left, and we do think from right to left. We are contrarian, generally speaking, and we are not how many would, the thought process will be very different from people who are dyslexic, the thought process. It's just that it's different thought process. It doesn't mean one is correct and the other is wrong. And generally speaking, the dyslexia guys are lateral thinkers, as I mentioned, and I think that's very, very important. I'll elaborate about this later because about how these seemingly disadvantaged conditions are actually very, very advantageous. So Steven Spielberg, there are many, many famous people who are dyslexic. He was diagnosed with having dyslexia at age 60. And he said that was like the last puzzle part in a tremendous mystery that I've kept to myself all these years. Everybody would know that he's an Oscar-winning movie producer. And interestingly, if I may also add that people who are dyslexic tend to be very, very visual. And it's just they gather information visually, and they do not gather information through reading or words. So it's another form of getting information. Steven Spielberg, Oscar-winning movie producer. I guess a movie producer, obviously, I would imagine him to be very, very visual. So because, to add on to what Spielberg mentioned, he said, because of this year, my brain works differently, and it's very, very true. We work very differently, trust me. And I can see these patterns. I do have a gift that other people don't have. And I think that's key. And I will always stay ahead of the crowd and see more in the image than other people. It's just, everything is about imagery, visuals, and we do see a lot of things that you all do not see. Or I wouldn't say normal people do not see, but I think that the people who are dyslexic are not abnormal. Let me illustrate. I could not believe that I could, what I was reading, the phenomena. I think you all could read all this. I think it's quite amazing. And why do we need to do spelling in primary 1 or 2? Being dyslexic, while you may not be able to do well in your spelling test, because of the lateral thinking tendency or capabilities, actually, you are thinking very differently and very creatively. And as far as the advertising business is concerned, the highest paid talent or skills that we have are known as a creative director. And one of my prerequisites to get the creative director or a good creative director is that he or she must not have a university degree. Because if they have a university degree, they would have been conforming. Because creative people do not conform. They are rebels and they break rules. Einstein. Winston Churchill is known to be dyslexic. John F. Kennedy. I don't think Donald Trump qualified to be dyslexic. And our beloved statesman, Lee Kuan Yew, he has actually, I remember that small article on the right-hand corner of Straits Times where he mentioned that he's mildly dyslexic. And then everybody was finding it very fashionable. And everybody said, oh, hi, I'm this person, I'm mildly dyslexic. This is what the quote that I got from Einstein about education and how it's being seen. The only thing that interferes with my learning is my education. And that is from Einstein. So again, I think education mean well. No educators mean in a bad way, but they want to nurture. But sometimes there are certain talents there that could be nurtured and be interpreted differently. So I have got two issues here, two seemingly conditions, but I want to say they are not conditions, and I again say throughout my whole talk here is they are not conditions as such. They are positive conditions. So one was the ADHD, one is the dyslexia. So educators should interpret the positiveness of a student who is dyslexic, or the positiveness of a person who is very restless and hyper because it's full of energy, harness the energy. So there's another thing called OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. I really think that it's basically you need obsession to conquer the new world, to set new order, to set limits. Because if you are not passionate about what you do, you do not have that commitment, that energy to do it extraordinarily well. If it's a normal energy, you probably do it well. But what we are chasing will be for doing extraordinary well. If to do extraordinary well, or something extraordinary well, you will need obsession. You need compulsion, being compulsiveness, and you need that passion. You need that. You need to be consumed by what you want to do. Otherwise, it will just be good, but not excellent. So, to me, OCD doesn't mean obsessive compulsive disorder. I think it's obsessive compulsive dedication. So we need to be dedicated, So we need to be obsessive. You need to be obsessively in love with your wife. So OCD is about chasing for perfection. And they just need that perfection. Nothing seems to be good enough. And also determination. And about not compromising.
Teil insgesamt. Den Weg ans Netz riskierte. Dran gegen Milojevic, den an 2 gesetzten. Zverev übrigens mittlerweile Nummer 4 der Setzliste und Antonia Lottner im vergangenen Jahr im Halbfinale. Aufzubauen. Zum 3. Mal muss er abwehren. Und jetzt wird es schwer. Geht er wieder über die... Der Spanier.
Rafael Nadal, he's 11 times Grand Slam winner, #1 tennis player in the world for many years. What I didn't show was also the way he actually placed the water bottle next to in front of his seat. It must be at a certain angle. And he just takes so much time just to place the water bottle. And when he walked, he will not allow his right foot to step on the line. And he always miss the line. So he is that compulsive, he's that obsessive. But that's what makes him a world champion. You need that obsessiveness. And through the obsessiveness is translated to your search for perfection, your determination for perfection, and therefore you have got that extraordinary energy to be #1. So belief create possibilities. That's where I believe that's what's our call. That first and foremost, we must believe in everybody. Do not label anybody negatively. Seemingly the labeling of ADHD, dyslexia, and OCD. I hope to have persuaded all of you that actually these conditions are extraordinary conditions. They are not abnormal conditions. So I think we should therefore believe in everybody, believe even though there may seemingly a disability, because they can be changed to very powerful advantages and possibilities.
Taking on the theme of Adrian's talk about the advantage of being disadvantaged, I wanted to share two projects, two events that AdPlanet Agency had done very successfully to show that there are advantages of being disadvantaged, and that belief creates possibilities. And in fact, belief in the disadvantaged people can create a lot of opportunities and possibilities, right? The first event was, if some of you remember, we brought in Stephen Wiltshire. We first met Stephen Wiltshire in 2013 in London. Stephen has a condition called Savant syndrome. Savant is somebody who's very gifted, all right? And the person with Savant syndrome is a very gifted person with a disability. Stephen is an autistic savant, and the way I would describe him is that he's a highly intelligent, highly talented, silent communicator. What's his gift, all right? As an autistic savant, his gift is the ability to reproduce in a very intricate way, all right, drawings of what he has seen, right? Whatever fascinates him, he is able to remember. It's etched in his memory permanently, and he's able to recall at will and draw again, right? So in 2014, we brought Stephen Wiltshire out to Singapore, and it was in conjunction with the Singapore Press Holdings See the Big Picture campaign to celebrate its 30th anniversary. So if you remember, we got Stephen up a helicopter. He flew over the civic district, and over about 4 to 5 days, all right, he produced the Singapore skyline slowly, but very thoroughly, all right? I mean, he's got this amazing memory. And what happened was that he drew a 4-meter long a drawing of the Singapore skyline, which the Singapore Press Holdings gifted to the nation for SG50 in 2015. I just want to show you a clip of Stephen at work. So that was Stephen and 2015. Encouraged by this, we met in Tokyo, Shoko Kanazawa. Shoko is a highly sought after calligrapher. And in fact, the Japanese emperor had composed a poem specifically for Shoko to paint, right? But Shoko is not just a calligrapher. She's a calligrapher with Down syndrome, right? Yeah, this is Shoko at work, right? Why did we want to bring Stephen Wiltshire or Shoko out to Singapore? We wanted to show that special needs persons, or SNPs, they have special abilities, and many of them have these abilities that are known to us, right? But we wanted to bring them out and to share their abilities with the rest of the community in order to encourage those with special needs, right? And who have abilities that they can harness. So we were very keen to bring Shoko out, but we needed a platform to bring her out. And then in 2016, last year, was Singapore-Japan's 50th year of bilateral relations. So that gave us a wonderful opportunity to bring Shoko out to Singapore, which we did, right? But because it was a Singapore-Japan event, we also wanted a Singapore component. And therefore, we were very fortunate. We were able to call back a brilliant pianist, Azariah Tan. Azariah had just completed his PhD in university in the USA, his PhD in piano performance, right? The beautiful thing about Azariah is that he is a great pianist, but he has severe hearing loss. And therein lies this irony, right? He has a severe disadvantage, but it was really his advantage. I mean, you know, how do you play the piano? How do you listen to your own music when you have such severe hearing loss? But there we have somebody, you know, in our midst, right? And that was Azariah. Just as a sort of, just a sidetrack a little, when we brought Azariah back, we also helped him to cut his first CD, Azariah Plays Chopin, which we had sold at the dinner, the Singapore-Japan 50th Gala Night dinner, to raise funds for community chess. We have a few of the CDs left, so if any one of you wish to get a copy of it, we have some available. And the proceeds will go to a charity, right? The CD has had very good reviews, so it makes a wonderful, wonderful gift, right? We brought Shoko and Azariah out, and they performed publicly, and also at the SJ50 Gala Night. Right. I think these events, whether it was the Stephen Wiltshire See the Big Picture campaign, or Stroke of Genius by Shoko, or The Sound of Silence by Azariah, they were very well received on various levels, right? At the government level, because it is in line with the thrust that we today know as SG Enable, right? The special needs associations and schools were delighted that we brought these talents out because it was an eye-opener to them and also extremely encouraging, right, that there are special needs people who can do so well. And of course to the audience too, you know, it was an eye-opener, right? But I think that if I just, you know, say that well, you know, these special needs people, they are brilliant, then I might be, and that all special needs persons are brilliant, that I might be misleading you or maybe just painting part of the picture, because in reality there are many special needs persons, all right, whose lives are very difficult. They don't have the same level of talent. They struggle each day to get access to resources, to get opportunities for to train, get themselves trained, and for opportunities to wherein they can be independent eventually, right? 2013, we started a very humble initiative called the Dare to Dream Scholarship. The Dare to Dream Scholarship provides course fees for the full duration of the special needs persons. At the moment, we are working with LaSalle College of the Arts, and we felt that it was important to provide support to special needs persons who faced financial challenges so that they could get formal training, all right, in order to acquire skills and to eventually be able to seek employment and be independent. Right. The difference in this scholarship is that we've decided to keep it small. We actually engage very intimately with the recipients. We in regular communication with them. We support them at their exhibitions. We keep track of how they're progressing in the college. We are there, we make ourselves available if they need assistance in seeking internships or even employment, right? For the sake of time, we will be ending this talk soon. But before doing that, we thought that it was important to share a video montage called Perception that we created for the Singapore-Japan event last year. The reason why we had that video montage going was that although we brought in foreign talents like Shoko and also brought Azariah back, we felt that there were many local special needs talents who are actually unknown, right? But we wanted to give them the platform, the opportunity to also show off their talents and give them the opportunity to be out in, to be seen by the public, right? And it's also put online, and that if you have the opportunity, you will have the opportunity to view it. Each of you will take away something different from the video montage, which I will show you now.
Perception is a view of something or someone. It is about forming an impression, a process that can be based on one's reality, a reality which may or may not be true.
Perception rests on the epidermis of reality. It is impermanent, it can be erased. Perception is invisible ink.
We act based on a perception, a conscious or subconscious interpretation of what we see. It stirs an action and creates a reaction.
Perception forms a bias, a belief, a mindset. It brings about an attitude.
Perception is a definition, it's an identity, it's who you are and who I am. We are differentiated by how the world sees us.
There are things known, there are things unknown, and in between are the doors of perception. Aldous Huxley.
Perception is a view. An idea of something which once formed can be fixated. It's whether you are open-minded or narrow-minded. You need to be open-minded to change a perception.
I would say, in a way, I see the world with a lot more color and a lot more dynamics and dimension to it.
It's always good to look at the bright side. We try to stay positive. Our perception is that we can still do it despite our challenges. Yes, we can. Cry, but also laugh.
Hi, I'm Andy Chow. I hope to see what others can't see. How do you define what is normal? Why not a new normal? Who has the right to say I should be like you or you should be like me? It's the differences that make the world colorful. Let's embrace differences. Let's celebrate differences. I photographed some of the world's most beautiful people, actors, models.
What defines beauty? Beauty is more than skin deep, as they say. True,
very true. Beauty is deep, very deep, more than what the eyes can see. There's beauty in everything. I like to show it through the power of my lens.
Look beyond disabilities to recognize abilities. We can change perception. Beauty is perceived. It is a right. It's for all without exception. Everything is beautiful.
would like to thank them for giving me so many good words and then experiences. I have my own data now, so I would use their experiences and their words indirectly to push myself to a higher limit, higher stage in life. How I see people, how I treat people, how I communicate with people, and to my photography too. You know, yeah, that's very important. Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, you may ask, why did we produce Perception and why am I showing it to you here? I think we recognize that, you know, many of us, me included, right, we have preconceived notions about the disadvantaged and about the special needs people, but we really hope that we can change these perceptions, right? And we do want to see, hope that we have a world where we can look beyond their disabilities to recognize their abilities and really to know that, you know, that there are advantages of being disadvantaged. And I think that a forum like this allows us to inspire you and ourselves, right, to contribute towards to recognize our role and how we can do more to contribute towards society, to do good, and also to inspire and create a more inclusive and compassionate society. And Adrian and I really enjoyed preparing for this talk, and we hope that it has been meaningful to you, purposeful, and inspirational to you. Thank you.